Hey, good morning. It's Wednesday. It's time for another episode of Come On Ref. I'm your host. I'm Chad. You know me. I'm going to look at I'm just going right across the row here. I've got Nick, I've got Jared, and I've got Max in the sports studio, and I've got Jackson at his home studio. I don't know what to call it. Are we calling that anything?
It's the home studio.
The home studio. All right, fair enough. I'm in my home studio.
The
Later on,
lounge.
we'll go to the Be On Air Sports Studio a little bit later, and we'll have we'll check in with Natalie for the second half of the show. I think we got a pretty good show for you guys today. You got a lot of, what are we going to talk about? I mean, the Browns there's some good and bad news with the Browns. We'll get to that in a minute. Browns pulled a comeback win against the Ravens. It really probably one of the most anti-Browns wins that I've ever seen. It didn't even feel like I was watching the Browns. That was good. We'll talk about that. CJ Stroud is continuing his, I don't know if you can call it dominant, but it's a pretty good run for a rookie quarterback. One of the best we've seen. And later on, we'll play With or Without, the James Harden edition. So don't miss that. But right now, I just want to hit some quick headlines. We talked about it last week on the show, Megan Rapinoe's final soccer game. It didn't go well. Injury, within, I think, the first 4 minutes, guys, she was out. Possible torn Achilles is what I'm hearing. I haven't heard any confirmation on that. But yeah, Megan Rapinoe's last soccer game, again, ended kind of unceremoniously. Gotham would go on to win 2-1. That is what it is. I mean, unfortunately, that does happen. And on the injury front, I do have some breaking news for you guys this morning. Again, we said we'd talk about some bad Browns news. Quarterback Deshaun Watson is out for the remainder of the year. And I don't know if anybody saw this coming or not. I thought it was going to be the ankle. When I saw it, I thought maybe I didn't know what I thought, but I didn't know. I think it was going to be a shoulder. But yeah, glenoid fracture, which is the we'll bring up the graphic here and we'll show you. I mean, I don't know if it's really showing you anything but a shoulder, but it's Blue Man and he's back. I mean, you guys don't know about Blue Man because that was like a whole family ago on the show. But Blue Man is back to show us, I guess, a shoulder. But yeah, the glenoid fracture. It's just the actual the socket in there. Basically, it's a ball and socket joint, and Watson has a fracture, and he's going to have season-ending surgery. Did you guys see this coming?
No
one did.
I woke up to it, saw my phone, and I'm like, wait, what? And my heart sank immediately. I mean, just to go from the highest of highs this past Sunday to now this is like, it sucks, man. It sucks.
We see it every week in just the Browns games in general, just a roller coaster. And with Deshaun Watson all year with his injuries, it's been a roller coaster. And this was a punch in the gut to Cleveland fans and Browns fans all over.
Finally starts playing well, playing good football, it wins his biggest game as a Brown. And now we won't see him again until next year. And it sucks.
I'm thinking 2020 was the last time we really saw Deshaun beast out. And the word hindsight, 2020, when it comes to him. I didn't see this happening, but now that it's happened, I mean, I feel a little bad for the Browns fan. I mean, 20 minutes ago, I said the only thing worse would be if DTR was starting this weekend, because that would mean you don't care about winning this weekend. And then what happens 10 minutes later? Nick's nightmare came true, because Nick told me 20 minutes ago he'd feel horrible. So I don't appreciate you making my boy Nick feel bad today. 10 minutes in.
That's the Browns. The Browns is the Browns, right? I want to move on. We'll talk about that later. I mean, Watson was 14 of 14 in the second half against the Ravens, by the way. I mean, maybe his best football in, like you said, since 2020. Whatever. We'll move on. We'll talk about that later. Real quick, MLS playoffs. First round is over. Both Ohio teams have moved on. Columbus and Cincinnati have moved on to the conference semifinal round. Maybe in the most bizarre playoff format I've ever really seen, to be honest with you. The first round ended November 12th. I'm looking at here, and the conference semifinals don't start until Saturday the 25th. So okay, 2 weeks off there. That's fine. I guess I didn't expect that. But what do you guys think about Columbus and Cincinnati moving forward? Chances to win?
I'm rooting for Columbus. I think they have a really good shot of winning. Cincinnati is always good as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be keeping my eyes out for both of them. And yeah, you mentioned the 2-week period, Chad. It's very weird that they have 2 weeks off during playoff time. I would think as an athlete, you want to get to the next round and play your games as fast and quick as possible. Maybe it's a time for them to rest up and heal up, so they are 100% for the next round.
Yeah.
Maybe it has something to do with weather, but it's soccer. You usually play in any weather, no matter if it's snowing or raining. So very interesting to see them do that. Don't really know the reason behind that, but yeah, definitely going to keep an eye out for them, and I'm really looking forward to the crew to take it home.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we'll look into that. Maybe we'll have an answer on the show next week. If there is an answer, we'll find out why there's that 2-week period. But yeah, crew the 3 seed overall. Cincinnati's the 1 seed. So yeah, I mean, Ohio's looking pretty good in MLS soccer as far as that's concerned. Which is good because we're probably going to lose our favorite football team right now. They're probably going to plummet, but that's fine. Move on. Again, MLB awards are in the middle of being announced. We've already talked about the Rookie of the Year. AL Rookie of the Year was Gunnar Henderson of the Orioles. NL Rookie of the Year, I don't think there's any surprise. Corbin Carroll, the Diamondbacks. Manager of the Year, I don't think you guys called it. Brandon Hyde of the Orioles. I thought maybe Boshi, but Brandon Hyde won that in the AL. And then the NL Manager of the Year, I'm not sure there's much of a surprise there. Skip Schumacher, what he was able to do with the Marlins was, amazing, and in what looked to be a pretty tough division at the beginning of the season. But famously, one of the teams that we thought was going to be tough fell off and had a tough year. But so congratulations to those guys. Were you guys surprised by any of that at all?
I was not personally, but I do want to give a shout out to our very own Cleveland Guardians, Tanner Bybee, finishing second in the award. He had a great rookie season, was very underrated this year. So congrats to him on finishing second. Should be only better things forward with him.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in the rotation for us next year. I mean, we just DFA Cal Quantrill, so we're going to have another starting pitcher come in to rotation. Espino. Yeah, maybe Espino to replace Quantrill and really take over that fifth starter in the rotation, whether it's Espino or we sign someone. But yeah, really proud of Baltimore for what they've been able to accomplish.
Sweeping the awards so far.
Yeah, sweeping the awards. Rookie of the Year with Gunnar Henderson and Hyde for Manager of the Year, like you said, Chad. And it's really amazing to see how much Baltimore has changed their franchise in just a short amount of time.
Yeah. It really is. I mean, and they're kind of loaded for the future. I mean, they've got a lot of young guys locked up. I don't know about locked up. There's a lot of guys there.
Their whole core is locked up another at least 5 years with their.
Oh, okay. There you go.
And the funny thing is that ever since Adley Rutschman got called up in 2022, they never got swept. And the first time they ever got swept was against Texas in the playoffs this year.
Wow.
With him on the roster, so that's big things ahead.
Yeah, but like Nick said, they have a great core group that's going to be there for a long time. They have a lot of great bats. Anthony Santander is another one, a switch hitter. Really started his amazing season in the World Baseball Classic for Team Venezuela, and he really carried that over to the Orioles during the season.
I think the Orioles have a chance to have another Rookie of the Year next season with Jackson Holliday coming up as well, because he has just absolutely dominated the minor leagues, former #1 overall draft pick. So I think Gunnar Henderson is not going to be the only Oriole in the next few years to win a Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I don't think we're done hearing from the Orioles at all.
No.
Yeah, in any regard. So yeah, congrats to those guys. I know I know they so far clean sweep, but they're not going to get the MVP. I think that's going to go to Ohtani.
No.
It's okay.
No, not last time I checked. No,
they do not even have a finalist.
No, they don't have a finalist. That's okay. We're going to move on. I want to go to hockey. Real quick, we'll start just across the pond with an unfortunate story we talked about a couple weeks ago on the show. Adam Johnson, who was unfortunately, passed away because of an injury on the ice. There's been an arrest made in this case now. So we talked about how police were investigating, and they have enough evidence now that they've made an arrest. It's a little bit of an odd story. So I want to be careful about, allegedly the player that we think was arrested was Matt Petgrave, 31 years old. But they're not, outright saying that. They're just saying that a man was arrested in connection to the death of Adam Johnson. And then they list Matt Petgrave as the player, who was seen in the video with the high skates or whatever. I don't want to go over that too much, but so it would seem that he's the one that's been arrested, but it's a little, just the information's a little, I guess spotty, and that's okay. I mean, they don't have to tell us everything. So allegedly, Matt Petgrave has been arrested for this. How do you go about judging intent? And we talked about it a little bit this morning before the show. Just the trial or how is the sentencing going to look? I mean, if he's found guilty of whatever he's charged with, I mean, what do you guys? How do you? I don't know. I mean, there's no legal precedent for this, really. Is there?
Not really. I mean, it's happened. Players have been injured with skates all the time, and fortunately, they've survived through it. But Adam couldn't because he, But it's always been an accident. No one has ever done what the person did on purpose. And apparently the player had a notorious history of dirty plays. And looking at
Allegedly.
the video, allegedly, I don't think he meant to do what he did. Now it's like to the point where something happened and now he has to pay for what he did. Because you're not going to get away scot-free for killing somebody.
Yeah. Jackson, you're a hockey guy.
Yeah, man. I'm sitting here listening, and something crossed my mind. There's a guy I want to mention. His name is Marty McSorley. He's an enforcer. If you don't know hockey lingo, an enforcer is the equivalency to a goon, somebody that's on your team to pretty much be the bully. You put him out there to deliberately keep the superstar in check on the other team or to knock him out the game. So usually the enforcer is delivering physicality violently with intent to injure or just knock out. Now, with that being said, it's part of the culture. However, somebody died. So we got to look at it this way. We're going to put an enforcer / for all practical purposes, murderer. I hate to use that word. It's very strong. It's like, it's cringe. But someone died. He's an enforcer. He has a history. Nick mentioned reputation. And if we, at our job, if you're always late, you probably were late. You got another one. So are we going to judge him for intent? Or are we going to judge him for the outcome of intent? We can't gauge where his head was at. I don't think he meant to kill someone, but I'm just worried that, I should say, I don't understand how they're going to give him a fair sentence. Someone's dead. I don't think he deserves life. But what is an appropriate sentence in this situation?
I don't know. And I think, it's tough because, like you said, there's no legal precedent to this. It's not like this has happened X amount of times and, whatever, governing body has that precedent to go on. So I think we just have to watch it play out. I don't really want to speculate on what he's going to be charged with, or what he could be sentenced. I don't know. I won't get ahead of myself here, but obviously just condolences, first of all, and most important, condolences to Adam Johnson, his family and friends. I mean, that's, and I'm sure, like I said, that Mr. Petgrave, probably didn't intend on someone losing their life in this. So you do feel for him as well. But, again, it did seem to be an unnecessary move. But whatever. I want to move on to just an NHL story quick. It seems the come on ref curse may be alive and well. I picked the Edmonton Oilers, kind of preseason to bring home the Stanley Cup. And now they've fired head coach Jay Woodcroft. So that's how good I am at picking teams. It's whatever. But yeah, it looks like Chris Knobloch is in. And if you guys know anything about him, he was Connor McDavid's junior hockey coach. But it's just for the Oilers, it's a lot of turmoil. It's the 10th coach in 15 years. I didn't realize that. And it's the 5th coach that McDavid has had since he's joined the organization in 2015. So I don't know. I mean, Jackson, can they get back on track? I mean, you're an Oilers guy. Is this going to help them?
Yeah, I say that with confidence because, like I was saying last week, the Edmonton Oilers, as far as on paper, as far as roster, they got it. They got what it takes. You got Evander Kane. You got Draisaitl. There's Hyman. You got dudes besides McDavid. They got decent goaltending. I think what they need is just to keep playing, play it out, play through it, like how Phil Jackson used to do back in the day. There's no need to panic yet. It's still early. It's not Oiler hockey at all. But the good news is the schedule. They still have teams on the Eastern Conference to play that aren't that good. There's plenty of room and time and talent for the Edmonton Oilers to turn things around. That's my take as of now. It could change.
That's fair. I mean, it's early. It's a long season. It's not like the NFL where if you get off to a slow start, you're in trouble quick. Especially
they're good. They're a good team. They're not doing well, but it's not like there's. What are we going to do? We need pieces. No, the pieces are there.
Yeah. I have a feeling it's just putting it together. Max, what do you think? Oilers turning this thing around or no?
Well, Woodcroft's record was 79-41-11, and he inherited the team back in 2021 when they were absolutely abysmal. Like, they were like nowhere near it. He took them all the way to the Western Conference Final. His playoff record is 14-14. But I mean, they started out 2-10, and the turnaround was the Heritage Class. They've won 2 straight now with their new coach. But right now, if you fire your coach like less than 20 games into a season, it's not looking too good.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if they'll be able to, because like they had a set plan going into the year, and I'm wondering with this new guy 20 games in, what's his plan to bring this ship back into the harbor and settle everything down. But I mean, it's not looking good right now.
Max, I do have a question. Do you think Connor McDavid is going to get sick of this eventually? Like he's in.
He's going to get sick of this.
He's in year 8 or 9 now, and still has not made it to the Stanley Cup final. And for a guy who's supposed to be the best player in the world, he is the best player in the world. To never even make it to the Stanley Cup final, he's in his prime right now. This is the years he's supposed to be competing for. Do you think he's going to request a trade at some point?
At some point, he will. I think if they don't. I think this year, if the head coach they have now gets fired again, I think he'll be done with it.
Yeah, because he has no core. He has people to surround him.
He has
Draisaitl.
He has Leon Draisaitl.
That's it.
Zach Hyman.
That's all he has.
That's it. He doesn't. What was it? Last year, the Vancouver Canucks, they fired
Bruce Boudreau.
Yeah, Bruce Boudreau, and then they brought in Rick Tocchet, and Tocchet was absolutely horrible for the last half of the year because he just inherited a team that wasn't winning. And now Vancouver's one of the best teams in the NHL. And it's like, it's to a point where like some guys, it's like Pierre-Luc Dubois for the Blue Jackets in 2020. After the bubble year, they started doing like the Central and like certain teams. He got benched one game for not like pretty much not giving any effort. And then he went in the next game, scored 1 goal, got benched in the third period because they were up 4-1 and he wasn't showing any effort and they almost lost. And then they traded him. So it's like, will he start to not show any effort because he doesn't want to play for them anymore?
You'd hope not. I mean, you'd hope not. But maybe that's the reason for bringing that familiar, face in to keep him engaged, to keep him, in the loop, so to speak. I don't know. Maybe that's the reason. But we'll let it play out. We want to move on. I want to talk about, a season where there's not plenty of time left, right? College football. Did you guys see this week? I don't know if you saw Jim Harbaugh's press conference. I don't want to get into the exact quotes.
America's team, baby.
America's team. Jim Harbaugh says Michigan is America's team.
Which is
overcome adversity. Is it not self-inflicted?
It's completely America's cheaters.
It's the fact that, I think ESPN, they either did a poll this football season or last football season. They tallied the fans, how many fans are on the U.S. of each team. And Michigan's not number 1. You know who's number 1? Ohio State. Ohio State just has over 11 million fans in the U.S. Michigan, I think, has 6 million, if I remember correctly. It's not even close. It's not even close.
He's delusional. He literally is delusional.
Well, that brings me to my next question. I was going to say, is this legal strategy or is Jim Harbaugh delusional? Literally what I was going to say.
Probably both.
I think he's just.
Hold on, Jackson. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jackson.
I think when he says America's team, it's because in the country of America, they're the team getting all the noise and the smoke and the attention. He's misconstruing and using his words in a slippery way. So theoretically, they are America's team. But beyond that, it's for all the entire wrong reasons they're America's team right now.
Yep. Yeah, I
He's
agree.
acting
Something
like-
that you said there, using his words in a slippery way, is being a head football coach in college any really different than being a politician?
Not that different, honestly.
Because he's just, I mean, I talked about it last week. Michigan's just trying to cover their butts right now. They're trying to hide everything that they've done because eventually they know it's going to be found out. Like, it's like somebody who steals a lot of money and takes it into overseas banks and then they get caught. It's like the Wolf of Wall Street, kind of. They're just trying to cover it. Like, he's trying to do that so that they don't get in more trouble by finding anything else.
They're moving money to cover deficits everywhere. Yeah, I get it.
Right.
But here's the thing, though. When it comes to this, you mentioned politics, a politician. There's two things I want to say on this matter. I think of interim head coach Sharon Moore. I didn't appreciate him after the game bursting into tears, and the first thing he mentions, and I don't go here usually. This is going to be an exclusive moment for me. I keep religion and spirituality out of my professional life. But for this moment, I'm going to open that door and say, I didn't appreciate Sharon Moore mentioning the Lord and thanking the Lord. And then he hit me with profanity and a barrage of F-bombs and S-bombs. So I'm not really sure where he stands spiritually, but I mention all that because it aligned right with cheating and being immoral and all that good. Oh, there's nothing like a Michigan man talk. So I didn't appreciate that. I don't appreciate the playing the victim role. And if there's like, they're trying to make it like everybody does this. But here's what I don't like. Nobody at Ohio State, if you're an alumnus, a player, a fan, what you're not going to do is dress up in another college whole coaching outfit and go pretend to be a part of their staff just to gain a competitive edge. So, no, there is a difference. That's huge. You're a Michigan man putting on Central Michigan gear. That's a no-no. You're not supposed to cross-dress like in that matter. That's strike one. Strike two, they don't deserve to be in the college football playoff because they keep screaming how they're galvanized as a team. They're the best team in the country. The thing is, if you're getting accused of cheating, how is beating and destroying people helping your case that you're not? You need to take some L's, fall back. Like, am I making sense here?
Yeah. Listen, you got ahead of me, but I'll ask you guys over in the sports studio. Jackson, we know Jackson's stance on this. I mean, should Michigan be in any postseason discussions? I mean, whether it's the Big Ten championship game, the college football playoff, a bowl game. I mean, should they be active in this?
I mean, the investigation kind of started halfway through the season, so I guess.
This is a hard question.
Since the research started halfway through the season, I feel like it's hard to punish them now. I think you have to punish them next season. I mean, worst case scenario for Michigan, is they're not in the college football playoff and they play some pointless bowl game. But then next season, I do think there are some consequences that have to be enforced by the Big Ten, by the NCAA. They have to enforce something. And if it's not firing Jim Harbaugh, you definitely have to fine them and suspend something.
If they don't have a bowl ban next year, I will be shocked.
They'll have a.
There's no way that next year they won't have a bowl ban. They have to, right?
Or they you're right. They're gonna get a bowl ban. They're gonna.
That's the obvious.
They're gonna get a bowl ban. They're gonna get a bowl game revenue ban. So whatever they make from that bowl game, they're gonna not get any money from it.
If they even have one.
Right. I mean, as of right now, this year, if they're in the college football playoff or not, they're going to be in one of the New Year's Six bowl games.
Yeah.
They're not going to be in any crappy bowl game. They're going to be in a New Year's
I'm
Six.
just interested to see if they end up getting wins vacated. That's what I'll be.
They're going to get wins vacated.
I think they will too, but again, we'll see how hard they come down on Michigan. I really don't know how hard the NCAA will come down on them.
They're going to, because if they're still going, if the NCAA is still going, then it's going to be harder than the Big Ten.
Because it seems like the Big Ten, obviously the NCAA is in the middle of their investigation right now, so they can't really come down with anything. But the Big Ten seems like that they're coming doing harder than the NCAA.
Well, if the Big Ten was coming down hard, they would have banned Harbaugh from the sideline the rest of the year, and letting him be able to coach. No, they banned him for the regular season.
A lot of the outrage though has been from people have said that Ryan Day and Purdue's coach Walters have been two of the most vocal guys outspoken against Jim Harbaugh. So those two have been kind of leading the charge when it comes to these Big Ten meetings, and they're really upset about it. I'm curious. I think that the Big Ten may actually come down a little harder than the NCAA will, just because they are the ones who are most affected by it, because they're the ones who play against Michigan all year round.
It'll be interesting to see. You said something, the Big Ten NCAA different punishment. It'll be interesting to see if they do get punished, differently from each of those entities. I don't know if that'll happen. I don't know.
Or maybe the NCAA will just let Big Ten do all their work for them. Let them do all the punishing.
Maybe. Hey, Jackson, how do you feel about Purdue speaking up on this matter?
Well, the Purdue, they don't belong in the conversation. And that goes back to hearing about how great and galvanizing of a team. Like, if we really think about it, Michigan possibly could be the best team in the nation. We all could agree on that. They possibly could be the best team in the nation for multiple reasons. But
if they beat Ohio State, they'd be ranked number 1.
Yeah. The problem is when it comes to greatness, where does the greatness, the organic and the cheating end and begin? Like, how great are they without the extra? And how much more great are they with the extra? You got to look at those metrics to determine how much cheating was actually done. So when you got a guy like Purdue talking, that means they're over cheating. They're cheating when they don't even have to. They're obviously a better team than Purdue just waking up in the morning. As soon as they wake up, they're better than Purdue. They don't have to do anything yet. Just wake up. You're better than Purdue. No, man, they're doing all this extra. So it bothers me. I don't know how good Michigan is when possibly they are the best team in the country.
Possibly.
Actually, you bring that up. Are they the best team in the country? I mean, against Penn State this past week, they were not good in the passing game. J.J. McCarty was 7 for 8 for 60 yards. That's like high school numbers right there. How do you go 7 for 8 and you can't even throw for 100 yards? Like, that's
they didn't throw a pass in the second half, Jared. They didn't throw a pass.
If that happens against Ohio State, they're not winning.
I mean, Blake Corum did all the work for them. He had 26 carries for 145 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was literally their whole offense against Penn State. I was not impressed by Michigan at all. Their defense saved them in that game against Penn State. So as Ohio State fans, for all of us, I am not really worried.
I mean, they beat Penn State by about the same amount of points that Ohio State did. It was a 9-point win for Michigan. Ohio State was an 8-point win. And both of them, they were up by 18 until a garbage time touchdown, 16 before a garbage time touchdown made it closer than it was. So I think that if you look at the way Ohio State and Michigan both played Penn State, it was pretty even. They both won because of their defense. Yeah, they won because of their defense. That's why both those teams.
But I think for Ohio State to win this Michigan game, if they get the run game going and they get Marvin Harrison going, then that'll be a walkthrough.
Yeah, Travion Henderson and Marvin Harrison,
and
they're a dynamic duo.
If Kyle McCord is on point, then it's fine. But if Michigan, again, like you said, if J.J. McCarthy can't throw for over 100 yards against Penn State, who Ohio State beat, but again, as Nick said, a garbage time touchdown at the end. If he can't do that, and then you have to give it all to your running back, it's not going to be good, because Ohio State also has one of the best run defenses in the country.
It really seemed like when Ohio State played Penn State, they were in control for pretty much the whole game. When Michigan was facing Penn State, it seemed like Michigan wasn't in control of the game until like middle of the third quarter.
Right. Well, if James Franklin wouldn't have kept going for 2, I don't understand why he kept going for 2 every time. In the first half, it made no sense. When it was 14,
they should have just kept the extra point. That play call was terrible, by the way. Why do you send all your linemen out there to pretend block and then not throw the pass? And then every single player who was over there with the lineman sees that, oh, he's not throwing the ball over here. We're just going to run over here and drop into coverage. There was 11 guys in coverage.
I don't understand that play call.
There was 11 guys in coverage.
And then even crazier, you put it in Drew Aller's hands, who, I mean, I'm sorry, man. He's not ready for that yet. He's not ready to be Tom Brady and sit back there with no protection and pick apart a zone defense in the end zone. He just wasn't ready for that.
Penn State play calling is awful.
They fired their OC after that game.
Yeah. I've watched now a couple Penn State games this year, and every time it just seems like it's Drew Aller running around and throwing it away because nobody's open.
I'm really not even throwing it away that well. Even that looks odd to me.
Yeah, and nothing in their offense looks smooth. There's not a lot of open receivers, not a lot of separation. I just think their play calling is awful because they have talent. Penn State has talent. I don't know if the guys are getting open.
They fired their OC.
Nick does mention that. I mean, Drew Aller wasn't that much better. He was 10 for 22, 70 yards, and a touchdown. So he wasn't that much better than J.J.
He
McCarty.
was 10 yards better and a touchdown better.
Yeah, pretty much.
15 more passes.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Michigan fan now. We blew Penn State out compared to Ohio State. Stop.
But it's like the last time that, like, because, like, Michigan was blowing teams out of the water earlier this year, and then they faced, like, a Penn State team that's ranked, and then they don't score more than 30 on them like they've been doing to everybody else all year.
Yeah, and a couple of things on that. I wanted to move on. I thought the Michigan jumbo packages looked really effective. That worries me. You know, for the Ohio State game coming up, the jumbo packages were really, really impressive to me. Another thing, Donovan Edwards looks slower hitting the holes. He just looks like he's not seeing the field as well as he saw it last year.
He has not been the same player this year.
Yeah, it's been weird. And another thing that Jackson brought up was Sherrod Moore on national TV crying like Jim Harbaugh wasn't on the sidelines on Saturday because he was donating a kidney to a sick kid and it went bad and he was in the ICU or something. Made me feel physically sick. Like, he's not on the sidelines for the second time this year, for the second 3-game suspension of the season because of possible recruiting violations and now a cheating scandal. Please stop crying on TV for Jim Harbaugh. You're not America's team, okay? Maybe you are. I don't know. Maybe the overwhelming, thought is, hey, Michigan tried so hard to beat Ohio State that they cheated. Maybe everybody hates Ohio State enough that Michigan really is America's team. I have no idea. But please don't play the victim game for me. Don't do that. Don't go on national TV and cry and, like Jackson said, mention the Lord and then start swearing at me left and right. It felt, I don't know, felt force-fed. I didn't like it.
He could have left God out of it. That's why I mentioned that. But here's my thing. A second reason for mentioning it makes you look like what you're being accused of lightweight. It goes hand in hand. It's like a guy that cheats on his wife, and then they divorce, and then all you hear about is how he's giving reasons to people why he cheated. She didn't cheat. He cheated. The vows say don't cheat. But he's manipulated it and twisted it in a way to make it seem like he's the victim. I just thought it was messy. Anytime you bring spirituality and tie it to F-bombs, it don't even matter what your religion is. What are you doing, bro?
Yeah. It's a little disingenuous.
It's so disingenuous. You're full of it.
Yeah. I want to move on, though. I don't want to talk about Michigan anymore. That's enough about Michigan. We want to talk. I just want to get into real quick the updated playoff rankings because listen, Georgia absolutely blasted Ole Miss this weekend. I mean, Ole Miss just didn't show up. 52-17 was the final score in that game. They're number one now. Georgia is in the college football playoff. I don't think there's any surprise there. Reading some social media comments, people were more surprised than I thought they would be about this, but I feel like Georgia's where they belong. I mean, everything's fine right now. I don't know that I love Michigan at 3 because of the whole thing going on, but again, it's a gray area. You can't. I don't know what you do if you're the college football playoff committee. I really don't.
That'll take
you can look up.
when they play each other.
I'm sorry.
That'll take care of itself.
Yeah, it will. It will. It'll take care of itself. You're right.
One of them won't be there when it's time for that to be finalized.
Yeah, you're right.
I really think at the end of the day that Florida State shouldn't be number 4 right now.
No,
I mean,
Washington should be ahead of Florida State.
Washington should be number 4 right now. They've proven with their schedule how great the Pac-12 has been this year. A bunch of ranked teams this year. You got Washington, Oregon, Oregon State, Utah. I mean, those 4 teams right there are all contesting for a Pac-12 title. And with Washington's resume, there's no reason why they should be number 4 right now and Florida State should be 5. They're barely winning their games, and they've barely faced anyone.
It reminds me of 2014 when TCU got left out in favor of Ohio State. I mean, does the college football playoff committee not like purple? Like, what's going on, man?
I don't know.
I mean, they were in it in 2016, and then they got blown out by Clemson.
So
this is a much different team. This is an offensive football team. That team was a defensive football team.
Yeah.
This team has guys like Michael Penix and Roma Dunze who are among the best in the nation at their positions.
Right.
I don't think that 2016
It'll take care of itself. When Washington beats Oregon in the Pac-12 championship, that'll prove that once and for all. However, Washington has suspect defense. It's almost as suspect as USC. So I don't think they deserve to be any higher than number 4.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Washington's defense can close out games and USC's can't.
I mean, their only bad defensive game they had was against USC. Other than that, I thought their defense was fine.
And Arizona State.
Yeah, it was.
All right. Well, we'll see. I mean, like a couple weeks left of the regular season. That blows my mind. I mean, it feels like we just started talking about week 2 and 3, and now here we are. I mean, everybody's 10-0, 9-1, 8-2, whatever. Man, we're almost there, guys. It's going to play out. These things are going to take care of themselves. I have no idea what's going to happen in Ann Arbor. I know the NCAA said that they wanted, an expedited investigation. What that means, I have no idea. If they're not getting any cooperation from Michigan's side of it, I don't know that you can really expedite that. But we'll see. Like I said, it just has to play out. A lot of, supposedly and allegedly is going on right now. Something different comes out every day. Now they're America's team. I mean, it blows my mind. But probably just legal maneuvering, I guess. I almost said maneuvering, but that would have been closer, maybe. But I don't know. It's just I don't really understand what's going to happen.
It's not alleged. People are dressed up for Halloween on the sidelines. How is that alleged? That's
I don't know.
That's an actual happening event.
Yeah. But I do want to move over. If we can go over to the Beyond Air News Studio, I want to welcome Natalie in. As soon as we can get her up, we want to. Hello, Natalie. How are you?
Hi, I'm okay. How are you guys today?
I'm doing great. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, I want to talk about the Browns a little bit because I don't know. The Browns actually they gave us some hope right before we got the bad news this morning. They came back to beat the Ravens 33-31. You rarely see the Browns get to fix their own mistakes, right? Like the missed extra points felt like it was going to be crushing, but they got the chance to redeem themselves for that. So. Was that the most anti-Browns win yet, you guys? I mean, I felt like it was. It felt like I wasn't even watching the Browns play.
Well, the Browns, I've been saying it all year. They don't have what it takes to win grimy. Well, they're showing me wrong. They're showing everybody how wrong I can be at times. The Browns are resilient. They're winning games that prior Browns teams would lose. This team, there's a lot of bad things happen throughout the season, but they're finding ways to win as well. And I just feel like the Browns kind of know who they are. We all knew who they are. They run the ball, they play defense, lights out defense, and they kick field goals. So I feel like right now, it's not you could be a fan of a worse team. It's not the end of the day or the end of the world to be a Browns fan right now.
I think that's fair. I mean, Natalie, this wasn't going to be the direction of this topic was going to be the Browns are 6-3 and they're doing some things in the division. I mean, do you think do you think the defense is good enough to keep this up no matter who's playing quarterback right now? Not sure. Natalie, can you hear me okay?
I don't think you can.
Yes.
Okay. Natalie, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you a little bit better now. I can't do that. I'm sorry.
We got a bad delay there, guys. I'm sorry for that. I know that's putting you in a rough spot, Natalie.
Can y'all cut for me, please? I can't.
Yeah, that's not Natalie's fault. We had an audio delay there. But I mean, Jackson, just kind of going forward. Nick, I got you in the sports studio. I mean, can the Browns come back from this Deshaun Watson injury? What are we doing?
I think they can come back and make the playoffs. I think their team overall is talented enough, no matter who's at quarterback. And they've done themselves a lot of favors. They're 6-3. They're a couple games up on teams that are below them just outside the playoffs. And they have an easy schedule the rest of the way. They do. So no matter who's at quarterback, I think the Browns should be able to get into the postseason. Whether that's with 10 wins, 9 wins, 11 wins, however many wins it's going to take, I think that they have enough to get into the playoffs. But with P.J. Walker as a team, no matter how talented the rest of the team is, your ceiling is limited. You're not going to win a Super Bowl with P.J. Walker as your starting quarterback. You're just not going to. He would be far and away the worst QB to ever win a Super Bowl.
Sorry, PJ.
Yeah, my hope for the Browns making a deep run this season, which was pretty high after the Ravens game, because they went on the road, defeated the team that people were calling the best in the NFL for the second time this season. The Niners, people were calling them the best in the NFL. They beat them. They beat the Ravens. So they beat that so-called best team in the NFL twice this year. So it's like, why can't they make a deep run? Why can't they win a Super Bowl?
That's fair.
And now it's just so deflating because all hopes of a real Super Bowl run are dashed. But I said heading into the year, I just wanted to make the playoffs, and that's still on the table. So that's what I'm going to root for the rest of the year, is to make the playoffs.
That's fair. And let me give you some hope. Okay. I know that he's been getting a little better lately, even with the injuries piling up. But from week 13 last season until now, basically, Watson ranks 27th in passer rating and 29th in completion percentage among 34 qualified quarterbacks. So,
to me, though, what we've seen from Watson his last 3 games are nothing like what we saw from him last.
No, he was definitely trending upward for sure. I'll admit that for sure.
PJ Walker isn't going 14 for 14 in the second half to lead a game-winning drive against the 7-2 Baltimore Ravens. That just isn't happening.
I'd say the odds are against that.
PJ Walker isn't hitting that deep ball to Amari Cooper that Deshaun Watson hit against the Cardinals 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Like, PJ Walker isn't capable of some of the things that Deshaun Watson is capable of as a quarterback.
So that's fair. You just have to play to his strengths, right?
Yeah. What are they?
Whatever those are.
We'll find out. We'll find out, I guess. If he has
Maybe it's just giving the ball to Kareem Hunt. I have no idea. But I do want to talk about another team in the AFC North real quick, man, because the Texans absolutely stunned the Bengals, right? CJ Stroud took it to Joe Burrow this weekend, right? Second impressive comeback win, or at least, game-winning drive for CJ Stroud. I don't know, man. I mean, what do you guys think about CJ Stroud? Is he going to keep this up?
Well, I'll let Nick go first.
I think that CJ Stroud is having the best rookie season by a quarterback that I have ever seen. Justin Herbert's was amazing, broke all the records in his rookie season, put up the best numbers. RG3, incredible rookie season. Big Ben went undefeated as a rookie, took the Steelers to the AFC title game. We've seen some great rookie seasons. What CJ Stroud is doing with the Houston Texans is the most impressive that I've seen. He goes to a team that has been a bottom 3 team in the NFL each of the past 2 seasons. Nobody had any good things to say about the Texans the last couple seasons. Not a single good thing to say about them. And coming into this year, people were like, okay, they have a quarterback now, new head coach, things are going to be looking up, but no one expected them to even be competitive this year, I'd say. And right now, CJ Stroud has them at 5-4 in a playoff spot, a chance to win the AFC South. They're only 1 game behind the Jags.
Yeah.
And he's putting up incredible numbers. He has 15 touchdowns to 2 picks. He's second in the NFL in passing yards. And he's taken a team that had no expectations to a winning record. What more can you ask for? Like, that's an incredible rookie season. And I do think he belongs in the MVP conversation. I do.
Yeah. And listen, it'd be different if he was just plotting along, throwing for 110 yards here and a touchdown there. The defense was dominant or whatever, right? But that's not what's happening, man. Like, he's doing this.
That's the Big Ben rookie season right there, where everyone was giving him all the credit because they went 13-0 as a starter with Ben, but it was really the defense that was doing most of the work with that. CJ Stroud, he's the reason they're winning football games.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, Jackson, what do you think about Nick talking about your boy like that, man? He's just relying on the defense to go defeated.
No disrespect to Big Ben.
Well, I'm about to do something I'm not supposed to do, but it needs to be done. I got 3 points I need to go back on Watson that nobody said, and I don't want to have a conversation. Just want you guys to know you're not going to see the return on this investment. Number 2, nobody will ever be guaranteed this type of money again in NFL history because they're going to think back to this year. And number 3, the Dobbs trade looks even worse right now than it did the day it happened. Okay, fast forwarding back to the CJ Stroud show.
Yeah.
As far as that goes, man, last week we talked about it, and I said, let these guys develop a catalog, let these guys, do their resume. I'm just going to go out on the limb right now and just say he is in the convo. I agree with Nick. Not just for MVP, and Houston's not just in the convo for being a wild card team. I'm feeling like they possibly could win this division.
Yeah.
I know we're high on Jacksonville, and we love the unis and the colors, and I know Jacksonville Jaguars is the in vogue team this year in the AFC. At least they were preseason. But just by the looks of things, that Houston-Jacksonville, it's like one's trending one way, and Jacksonville has kind of either hit their ceiling or they're not there yet. Like, there's more. Jacksonville will get better, but it won't be this year we see it. Houston is getting better weekly. I'm going to go ahead and say CJ Stroud has a great chance to put the Houston Texans in the playoffs as a division champion. The way things look right now, I'd have to say that.
I think I agree with you. I agree with Nick. I think he's in the conversation for MVP. I think, it looks like he's far and away the rookie of the year. But yeah, I've been really impressed. I'm excited to see what he does. I mean, it seems like his understanding of where guys are going to be on the field and how to read defenses is really progressing at a rate that I didn't think it would. So yeah, it's been fun to watch. But real quick, I want to stay in the AFC North because it's a wild weekend. Well, not total weekend because tomorrow night the Bengals play the Ravens, right, on Thursday Night Football. Real quick, I just want to. We don't have a whole lot of time to get into it, but I just want to kind of get your guys' who wins this game, Bengals and Ravens. I mean, I think I got the Ravens, but I want to see what you guys think.
10-10 tie.
Okay, fair enough. 10-10 tie. I like it. Nick, what do you got?
I'm gonna go with the Ravens. I think they bounce back. Coming off a tough loss, they're gonna go out and get kind of. They will sweep the Bengals now if they win this game because they did beat the Bengals again or back in week 3. But get revenge for a playoff loss last year against the Bengals, even though they were with Tyler Huntley in that game. But yeah. I still think. I mean, I was going to say the Browns may be the best team in the division heading into this week, but now with no Deshaun Watson, I think that the Ravens will still hold that title as best team in the AFC North for right now. And this game is huge for the Ravens too, because if they lose this game, that gives the Browns and Steelers, the winner of that game will be in first place. So the Ravens need to win this game if they want to stay in first place.
Even with the quarterback situations they have going on.
Yes.
Okay. I disagree with the fact. I don't think Baltimore, it's fair to say they're still the best team in the division. I mean, the Bengals weren't who they are now in week 3.
Bengals look pretty bad last.
Ravens weren't either. But I think we're at the point now, even with the situation we're aware of, it would be suffice to say maybe Cleveland or Pittsburgh is the best team in the division. Because after what we saw last week, Baltimore didn't show me best team in the division last week. Cincinnati didn't show me best team in the division last week. So it's
if Deshaun was healthy, if Deshaun was healthy, I would be saying the Browns are the best team in the division right now. I would be. I honestly would be. But with that,
the Browns
and PJ Walker, I mean,
the Browns defense is better than the Ravens defense. If you've seen them like physicality, I just think the Browns have earned, with all things considered, even as of this morning at 9 a.m., for this moment, they have earned the right to be considered best team in the division.
I mean,
now nobody wants to run away with it.
After this weekend, this conversation could be totally different. Because
as a Browns fan, I was fully ready to come in here and be like, "This is the Browns' division to lose now. If they beat Pittsburgh on Sunday, they're right in it. They have an easy schedule. They have all the momentum. They could have taken this division. But now I'm just not as confident. I'm just not able to say that personally as a fan. I've seen both Dorian Thompson and PJ Walker play, and I can't say that I'm confident that a team led by those two guys, whichever one it is for the rest of the year, is enough to win this division. I just don't think it is.
Okay, Nick, so let's get to this weekend. That's my next question. Browns take on the Steelers. Who wins the game, Nick?
I'm still going to go with I'm going to go with the Browns still, honestly.
Okay,
I think
Jackson, who you
got?
Are you kidding? Okay. I'm gonna say it like this. Pittsburgh, for the past 4 years, has had no offense. Every game, less than 400 yards. Defensively, the Browns this year have been a smoke show. So we don't even have to show up offensively per se to win. We're undefeated this year when we don't play offense, if that makes sense. Our defense can grind us out. You know what? I'm salivating at the fact that we got DTR back there this weekend. I don't think the Browns care about beating Pittsburgh this weekend if you put that guy back there to face the Steelers this weekend.
I know I sound like I'm contradicting myself by saying the Browns aren't the best team in the division, but I think they will beat Pittsburgh. The reason I say that is because I still think Pittsburgh's the worst team in the division. I'll be honest. I know.
I just told you how they're 6-0 with no offense.
They've been outgained every game. I can't say that a team who's been outgained every single game this season has the same talent level. Like, they just don't have the same talent level as the Ravens or Bengals. I know they find ways to win. I know that's what they do.
We don't need it.
When
we need a touchdown, we get one. When we need a turnover, we get one. When we need to keep the other team from moving the ball, we do that. When we need a 3 and out, we get that. We do what we do to win the games that we shouldn't.
I'm just such a believer in the quarterback position. And right now, the Browns and Steelers are significantly worse than the other two teams in the division at the quarterback position.
That's
fair to say. I think that's fair to say.
1 p.m. November 19th can't get here quick enough.
I'll be at
the game. Guys, we got to move on. Okay, I think we know you guys disagree on this topic. I think it's pretty obvious we know that you disagree. But listen, it is time to play the game that is sweeping probably not even my home studio. We're gonna play with or without the James Harden edition. You guys ready for this? We're gonna try to get Natalie back in the sports studio as well. I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to get her back in, but we're gonna try to get her back in for this because this is a fun one. And they'll just let me know here any moment if we're gonna get her back in. But yeah, I want to play with or without the James Harden edition because we know the 76ers not good with James Harden, right? Clippers not so good with James Harden, right? It's been a struggle. It's been a struggle. So let's just get into the game. All right, we'll start with Nick. Nick, 76ers. Better off with or without Harden?
I'm going to say without because, I mean, I think it has allowed Tyrese Maxey now to take a jump to that all-star level player that some people thought he could be. But he's really shown this year that he can be that second guy behind Joel Embiid, and they don't need the locker room cancer that is James Harden. Because James Harden, with him, there's always going to be drama. We know that. And like he said in his Clippers press conference, he believes still that he is the system. He does not believe that he is a supporting piece. And if you're the 76ers, they know damn well Joel Embiid is that system. So James Harden just wasn't going to be happy there. He was going to cause drama. And this has allowed Tyrese Maxey to make that jump that Sixers fans hoped that he would. So I think they're better off without.
Okay, that's fair. He was not trusting the process, was he?
No,
Jared, 76ers, better off with or without Harden?
Without, I completely agree with Nick. Since the James Harden trade, the 76ers are 6-1. They won 6 straight, and they have been playing fantastically without James Harden. And Nick said it best. Harden thinks he knows best. He thinks his system is the best. Okay, where's your ring at? Where's your conference championship MVP, finals MVP at? Like, you have none of that. You've gone to so many teams now with so many household names in the NBA, and you are always the one leaving because you want it done your way and not the system way, not the team culture way. He doesn't want to work with any cohesive unit. He wants to do it all by himself. He's so selfish. He only thinks about himself, not about others. You might as well just go back to Houston and do whatever you were doing there, because obviously it worked for you there, but not with the rest of the league.
Getting that jersey back up in the strip club, baby.
Yeah, I mean, he like Nick said, he's just a cancer. He's not a teammate I would want to be around any part of my athletic career ever, because you bring the negativity, you bring the negative energy, then it only brings yourself down, but it brings the team down, and then you don't perform.
Only got
my man hit him with the go back to Houston, man. Jackson, what do you think? 76ers better off with or without Harden?
It's funny we're talking to 76ers. Are we cool with this or not cool with this? Because it reminds me of a guy, Allen Iverson. Back in the day, the coaching staff and the front office used to feel like this guy's a cancer. He's a horrible person to be around. But his teammates loved him and the fans loved him. Well, in this case with Harden, it's a no for me, dog. Like, there's not a team in the NBA I think Harden would be happy at. And as far as being the system, if you put Harden on the Akron Aviators, where he would be the system and the entire organization would be built around him, he still wouldn't be happy. He still would find a way to feel like he's not getting enough attention, the ball, points, minutes, whatever. I just don't think he's one of those guys that's talented, but he doesn't have professional class coof about himself. He's not a professional athlete, team player type person. I just think wherever he goes, it's not going to matter. And he's really overrated. It's like he's a gimmick. He's a brand. He's a beard.
Yeah.
He's the fat suit. He's everything but a great teammate, all-star caliber. I don't see it. All I hear about is how great he is, and I don't see it.
That's fair. No, that's fair.
No.
It sounds like you're telling me James Harden.
Did we all smash him just right? Did we get him?
I'm sorry.
Did we destroy Harden just right? Did we all?
Well, we're not done with him yet. But it sounds like you're telling me he's the kind of guy that plays for the team and then tries to enter the contest to hit a half-court shot to win a trip, right? Yeah, okay.
Harden
you can't do that. Right.
was.
Okay, so we're gonna move on. We gotta move on quick, guys. We've already done all the analysis we're gonna do. Nick, real quick, Clippers better off with or without Harden?
Honestly, I don't think that they're that. I think the 0-6 isn't a true representation of how they will be, but I do think that there was no point to make that trade. I don't get why you needed another guy who's going to take 20 shots a game and not show up when you are counting on him, because you already have concerns with Kawhi and Paul George that they're not going to show up when it matters most. I'm not necessarily on the court. I mean, by not even showing up to the court. So, I mean,
literally not showing up.
They have 3 guys who you can't count on to show up when it matters most. And they have 3 guys who all want – 4 guys, actually, because Russell Westbrook can count on showing up. But all 4 of those guys want shots. All 4 of those guys want to get the ball in their hands a lot of the time. So
why are the Clippers running their organization like they're a fast food restaurant? They just got a bunch of people that don't show up to work. They hire people are going in and out
because they want their rest time, Chad. That's why, because they took away their rest minutes. Their rest.
That's fair. I just want my nuggets to be done when they come out of the fryer. Jared, Clippers better off with or without Harden?
I'm gonna keep it simple and without. I think
Jackson better off with or without?
I just, like I said weeks ago, all I saw was a ton of missed shots when I saw their starting lineup. So I'll be fair. Give them some time to gel. Basketball is different. It takes a few weeks to gel. Let's see how they look after Christmas. But, nah, man, this ain't the move. This ain't
the jury's out. Okay, let me do this. I got to get my man a win because it feels like a with would have been a win, right? So let's go. Final, Nick, real quick. James Harden, better off with or without the beard?
I still would say with the beard. That picture of him without the beard, man, the beard gives him his whole image. So I will still say with.
Yep.
He needs the beard.
I can't remember the last time he shaved it.
No,
honestly,
he's had it.
Jared, you're with the beard too?
Yeah, I'm with the beard too.
Jackson, with or without?
Like I said, that's his brand. I mean, without the beard, he's not even the guy we're talking about in a negative light.
You don't even recognize him.
Hey, no James Hardens were actually harmed in the filming of this show. I look terrible without a beard, too. I'm not throwing stones. It's whatever. But I do want to move on real quick. Last NBA topic. We only have a couple minutes left, guys. We've been having so much fun talking about sports. Time has flown by on us. But, Nick, I mean, do you guys – let me just hear your surprise teams in the NBA, good or bad. Who's played beyond your expectations or who hasn't quite measured up for you, Nick?
I'm going to go with the Dallas Mavericks. They have been surprisingly really good this season. Not a lot of people even had them in the postseason this year because
they're flying under the radar.
They honestly are, because they did not play well after trading for Kyrie Irving last year. The defense was god-awful, and they really didn't do much this offseason. It looked like to fix it. That's what a lot of people thought. So a lot of people had them coming into this year as a play-in team. That's really what people thought they would end up as. And they've played really good basketball so far this year. Luka and Kyrie are kind of gelling. Tim Hardaway Jr. has been good for them. Rookie Derek Lively has provided the defense that they need. So I think the Dallas Mavericks have been surprisingly good.
Okay. Jackson, what do you think?
Nick took mine.
Fair.
Dallas, I feel like I didn't see that coming. But am I allowed to mention my surprise bad team?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Please do.
As far as the team that not doing what I thought they'd be doing at this point is Golden State. I really thought they'd be more like a 1 or 2 loss team for a long time. Long time.
Yeah.
Didn't Cavs W's coming. Didn't appreciate Draymond going choke mode on Rudy. I just feel like when it comes to Draymond and the Golden State Warriors, when they focus on basketball, they're the move. But yeah, man, I'm surprised right now with them. They don't look like – I think last year was it.
Well, that's a flagrant one in the sports studio, first of all. I saw that. That's a flagrant one.
Hey.
We're going to review that.
What are you talking about?
What?
Jared, who's your surprise team? Good or bad? Give me one surprise team.
I wouldn't keep it in the West, Chad. I went with surprise good team, Houston Rockets. Ironically, I know we were talking about James Harden earlier, but
yeah,
Houston
better off
Rockets,
without James Harden. Yeah.
Houston Rockets 6-3, 4th in the West right now. They have really surprised me. They've really played good basketball so far. Really looking to see if they can get back to where they were with James Harden, but without him at the same time. If that makes any sense. In my surprise bad team, I stayed in the West too. The Suns 4-6, 10th in the West. I know Bradley Beal had to deal with an injury with his back, but Kevin Durant just doesn't look like his old self. He really doesn't. And the Suns have not been playing good defensively, so they really disappoint me. I want to see the Suns succeed. They've had so many good teams in the past. They haven't just been able to finish it, like with Barkley and Nash back in the 90s and early 2000s. Yeah. So I really think they have to – obviously, it's early. We'll see how the season folds out. But I really think if Durant can get back to his old self, you get Beal back, and you really get that core gelling and working together, get on the same page, I really think they can make a run in the West again.
Yeah. Hey, listen, my team's the Cavs. They disappointed me. I thought they were going to take a step forward. I thought they were going to be excited to come out and show that. They've been stagnant. They've been, not great. It's looked like more of the same. But listen, one team that never disappoints me is you guys, man. So for Nick, for Jared, for Jackson, for Max, wherever he is, probably changing the battery in his key fob. There he is. Look at that. And for Natalie, who I apologize to. And for Natalie, I'm so sorry we had the audio issues. We didn't get her on the show today. We'll do better next week. We'll get her on the show. And real quick, too, our thoughts and prayers go out to Tuscarawas Valley local schools who are going to have some tough days ahead here. Don't want to get into that, but again, our thoughts and prayers are with you. Thank you guys so much for watching.
I got
have an excellent Wednesday. We'll see you next week.
Go Green. Beat Maslin.
There you go.